Hello my art-loving friends! In today's video we're going to be taking a close look at this Mission Gold pan set and doing a demo with the paints inside. This is the Mission Gold watercolor art set that has 24 half pans in it. When you open it up, it does come wrapped in plastic, but I have already taken the plastic off because I couldn't help myself. I needed to see what it was like right away. You saw that in the last video where I did the art haul. If you missed that, I'll link that for you. This brochure comes with an entire information pamphlet on how they make their half pans. And so if you want to pause that and get a translator, it might be really interesting to read. I may do that myself later. Here's the back side. It comes with a swatch sheet, which is on bao hung rough 300 gram paper, so basically 140 GSM, give or take, 100% cotton. Now, if you fold this swatch sheet in half, it does fit inside the palette, and the palette still closes. However, I like my own swatch sheets where I don't have to fold them and they fit in here, so I will be making my own later, but not in this video. Because this is such nice paper, I'll be swatching these today on the paper provided. Nice and compact size. Here's my cell phone in comparison. So definitely much thicker, but still quite compact. It's held together quite firmly, so you do have to put quite a bit of pressure on it to open it, which is probably good. It means it won't come open randomly on you. And then this part slides out, has really thick parchment or glassine paper in between it, and here are the beautiful 24 colors. The half pans are held in by this black casing. It's also plastic. You can pull off this mixing area by applying just firm pressure and lifting upwards, and then this will pop up in a hinged case like that. And these are just loose inside of that. So if you want to rearrange your colors in any way, then you can do that very easily through here. My concern is that the extra plastic on top of this will prevent my brush from getting in there easily and accessing the paint, but we will find out when we do today's demo painting. Just make sure it's snapped back together firmly, push this back in, super easy, and you're ready to paint. So I tend to open my palette like this, and the swatch sheet would be upside down then if I were to follow that. No big deal because I will be making my own like I already mentioned, but for now I just have to know that it's more like that. It's good to do an extra swatch like this anyway because it will give you an idea if you want to rearrange your colors in any way before you do your final swatch sheet. I'm going to be swatching these with these Fumui travel brushes, and this is the original set where they just pull out and snap into the other side. The new sets have a screw-in feature so that they are more secure. I don't have any problems with these. I used them in a live demo painting today on my Patreon site where we painted this, and loved them just like I remember because they are very nice brushes. I will be using the round size 8. I just used a Spectrum Noir art liner and a 05 for putting a black line in that Chinese white area. I do not expect the Chinese white to be very opaque, but you still have to test those things out. I'm also going to get my salt ready here and put salt on the right half of each swatch. Now this is a mixture of kind of coarse grain salt and fine salt, so it'll be a fun mixture to see when it dries on the swatch sheet. And here we have the Chinese white. Pretty much disappears when it dries, but it would probably make great pastels in the future. The lemon yellow is a really nice, bright, cool yellow. You would consider it a cool yellow definitely when you see it next to the others. On its own, if you don't see other colors next to it, it has a tint of warmth to it. This is their permanent yellow light. It's their mid yellow. Very beautiful warm yellow. Permanent yellow deep, a very warm yellow, leans a lot towards orange, would probably be great in landscapes and florals. The red orange is a beautiful bright orange. I actually really appreciate this orange. I always appreciate a very nice bright orange in my palette. Next up is their permanent red deep, and I am really grateful to have this red in there. Most of the times the first red that comes in a kit leans way too much to orange for my taste. I know a lot of people appreciate that, but not me. This one is definitely more towards my style. This one is Rose Madder. beautiful red, leans a little purple, and it is just gorgeous. This quinacridone permanent magenta definitely satisfies my need for wanting a rose color in a palette. This quinacridone Crimson Lake is a beautiful rose tinted color, but it definitely leans more towards purple. I think this would be really pretty in fields of flowers, other florals, and probably many other applications too. I tend to go for this color quite often in my paintings. This bright clear violet is gorgeous. You can see that PB29 granulating out in the salt in the upper left corner there. So pretty. This cerulean blue is so heavily pigmented, I have to be very careful with it. I am curious, what do you guys use a cerulean blue for? Sometimes I find in my Himimiya palette, I thought it was a cobalt blue, but I think it is a cerulean blue. I use it in my skies a lot. Here's the Prussian blue, and I used it in the painting demo you'll see later in this video. It is not as dark as the one in the Himimiya palette, which is interesting. I did end up adding a little black burnt sienna to it in the demo you'll see later. This ultramarine light is an absolutely beautiful color. I see that I will probably need to replace this soon. I think I'm going to go through this one very quickly when I use this palette. So I hope that they have replacement half pans, or it's okay because I can just squeeze some new from a tube. This peacock blue is probably unnecessary because it's just a mixture of the cerulean blue with the viridian. However, it's a very nice convenience color you can just go to without mixing, and they had room for it in the palette, so I guess why not? This viridian is just a viridian hue. It's not a true viridian, but it is beautiful and probably going to be useful in several ideas in my paintings. I really liked the idea of this bamboo green, but found when I was painting some greeneries in my demo painting later in this video, I did not reach for it. It is a little bit too unrealistic for greens that I would find out in nature, so I am curious what I will end up using this green for. Seems like every palette has to have this yellow green. Shmika calls theirs the May green, if I'm remembering correctly. Super bright, very probably fluorescent color, and it'll be fun to see where this gets used in the future. I was excited to see a sap green in this palette because that is a color I use quite often in oil painting and even in watercolors. However, this one is a little too light. I wish they had made it a tiny bit darker because I had to keep mixing it with darker blues. That green gold has that beautiful luminescence that you expect from good brands of green gold, PY150. It's absolutely gorgeous. I cannot wait to use it in something in the future. This is a beautiful yellow ochre. There are a lot of yellow ochres out there that I do not like. However, this one is one that I can get behind using. I do love my burnt siennas, and I basically depend on them in every single palette I have. I am lost without my burnt siennas, and I am grateful to have this one. It is beautiful. You don't even know. I put this red brown in my micro portable painter and have grown to love it. It does chunk out a little bit weird after it dries and you use it a couple of times. However, once you reconstitute it, it's still that beautiful, vibrant color, and I've really grown to love it. This Van Dyke brown is so deep and dark and gorgeous. This seems very opaque to me, even though it does not say that it is opaque. However, I just love it. I think it's a gorgeous color. And then I am always happy to have a black in my palette. I know a lot of people disagree with that. It doesn't matter. Paint how you like. This is a PBK7. I would be happier if it was a PBK11. I really enjoy granulating blacks. However, this black is nice and I do use it in today's demo painting. Here it is, all dry with the salt rubbed off, and the salt soaked into a lot of them, which is great. That's what it can do often, and you don't have to brush a lot off. It stuck on the top of a few, like the yellow, the green gold, a few. You can see the Chinese white disappeared pretty much completely, so it would probably be good to add into other colors to make them more pastel, but definitely not to use over the top. Stick to your bleed proof white for that. The Class 101 project that I want to do, this is the reference photo for that. And this is her finished painting of that. Let me make it full screen so you can see that a little bit better. So you can see she changed the colors quite a bit on the awning and the shadows, of course. Everything was pretty much slightly different in color. She made her awning a mixture of ultramarine and viridian. And I think I'm going to do my awning a little bit more brown. Not the gray brown that you see in the reference photo, but a little bit more like a burnt sienna, burnt umber brown. I think that will be really pretty. So that's what we're going to work on today. I will be using the Hanamule 100% cotton sketchbook for that. It's the one I've done some other paintings in that you've seen here on the channel. And it's great. Like, the paper acts fine, just like I expected to, except one thing you guys have pointed out in the comments and that I definitely noticed with this painting, which I did live over on my Patreon, was that the colors really fade in. So yes, you guys have pointed that out. It is so true. The colors just sink, I guess, is a good way to put that. So you can put your colors on way more dark than you think. Unlike this paper here, this is the Etcher 50% cotton paper, and I painted this truck with it, and you can see exactly how beautiful and vibrant these colors are. This paper keeps the paint alive, and I've mentioned this in one other video. I'm mentioning it again because it's worth mentioning. Now, it is not like arches, so you can't keep going over and over the same area twice because it really pulls off the paint easily. You can see in the background here, I painted the dark completely over that, but I came back later and lifted it really easily and was able to make that green leaf. Same with areas over the grill here. I could lift them up and paint the green leaves, as well as these stems in front of the bumper. Very forgiving paper, beautiful color payout. I'm very much enjoying this paper. However, we are going to work on this Hanamule sketchbook paper because I want to fill this sketchbook up, I mean, I guess eventually. Plus, it is nice cotton paper, and it's fun to have all of these projects in a sketchbook. Even though I did that one on an Arches paper pad, that's okay. We're gonna do this one in here. Well, hello again. I have been sitting here procrastinating doing my painting and kind of looking at this, wishing, goodness, these paints were only turned around the other way. This would be great because all of the colors are in exactly the order I would want them in, except flipped. Well, then it occurred to me, since this can pull out and be put on the other side if you are left-handed, so that it can be over here, you can put this on either side. And I did that without this closed, but same difference. Then maybe you could pull out this entire thing here. Yes, because I thought I would just open that up and just manually take out every little pan and put it in the opposite order. No, I don't have to do that. I can just flip it around and it's in exactly the paint order that I would prefer. Looks like it's going to snap in there just fine. Now it's exactly how I want it. And I will keep this on this side because I like to have this over here when I paint, with my mixing area up there and on this side. So that is perfect. We will see still if this black thing gets in the way. If it does, as you saw, it snaps in a little more firmly on this direction, so you can see that I kind of put my pans in a bit of a disarray, but I will fix that. So I can either cut this off and then affix these with some sticky tape or Uhu tack or something like that, or just take them out entirely and put them in here, except I do like that they have these, I don't know, little places to put them in because it does keep them from being just kind of loosey-goosey and I'm having to guess where they go in here. So I do like this little black holder. However, there's nothing more to do now except paint with it as is and see if the extra black thickness up here bothers me. So let's do it. Stop procrastinating. Start painting. It's time. Well, guess what? I was just playing some more. And, oh, I was gonna say, I just tried to close this and it didn't close because I noticed this black thing, since I flipped it around, it is not coming down into the palette completely. So when I snap that end down, then this end pops up, and I snap this end down and this end pops back up. So I don't think it actually flips around exactly right. However, let's see if I can get it to close again. Yeah, okay. I couldn't get it to close before, but we're good. Everything's good. We're good. It's all good. Well, guess what? I have played with this even more, and this isn't working. I think, sadly, we are going to have to pull this out and actually manually move all of these pans. I thought maybe I just had one that was lifted a little bit and that's why it wasn't closing, but I think the plastic is just ever so slightly different, that when you put it in the opposite way, it just doesn't snap down like it's supposed to, which is a bummer. But it's probably something that's 3D printed, I don't even know. So I will just take the time and switch these all so that right now you can see they're like this. I want them like that. I will be happy. It will close and open easily because it did make it really, really hard to open when I had it the opposite way. Plus, it just kept popping up on the sides again. So I'm gonna do that, and then we will paint this painting. For those of you that are new, I have signed up for a class by Paintinghyun on Class 101. I did that last year. My time is running out. I have 3 days left, 2 days left as of today that I'm recording this voiceover, and I have 3 more lessons. This is one of the last 3 lessons, and I just love her painting style. I love how effortless she makes everything look. She does have a YouTube channel here. I will link it down in the description box below if you want to check it out. But anyway, I'm trying to get my money's worth, trying to paint the painting she has for us, and I have done several in this series already, which I will also link in the description box below. What I have learned from this is that I do really enjoy these online lessons because I don't have to come up with the painting ideas. The teacher comes up with the painting ideas, and that's kind of a nice change. But I do have a hard time making it a priority to find the time to do the lessons. So I do still have probably 9 months left of a Skillshare subscription that I will try to take advantage of. I have so many other things going on though. It will be interesting to see if that happens. However, once this Class 101 class time expires, I will not be renewing it. However, I do put my photos in to her to get critiqued every time, and I have a feeling that it's going to expire before I receive all the critiques back from her. So if Class 101 offers an extension so that I can at least see the responses, I may go ahead and do that, but we'll see. And why am I not talking about this palette and this paint? Well, it's perfect. Go get one. My goodness. It is so nice. It is so much fun. The paint has so much pigment load that you will not be disappointed. You'll even have to water it down because you're going to be surprised once it hits the paper. The only thing is I have been using the Mijello Prussian Blue. It has a lot more black or a lot more deep color than the Prussian Blue in this set, which is interesting because I did have to add black to this particular Prussian Blue to get the Prussian Blue that I wanted for the shadows in the windows there. So that was the only thing I was like, interesting. This Prussian Blue is not as deep as the Mijello set, and the Mijello set is not professional grade paint by any means. However, I have been quite happy with the paint in that set. It does not re-wet nearly as easily as this. This paint re-wets like a dream, probably because I think, if I'm remembering right, it's honey-based. Sorry, I'm trying to get this video out in a super hurry, so I did not go look that up, but I think that it is true. And it just is really, really nice to work with. The black things on the palette did not bother me too much yet. I'll talk more about that later. But the Fumui brushes is also something I am using in this set. They are travel brushes that snap apart and close together. They have a hole at the end for ventilation, and oh my goodness, are they a dream to work with. I have been using the Winsor & Newton Cotman brushes for a long time, and I've gotten used to how much water you have to put into them. And when I get out my silver black velvet brush, I have to put in a lot more water when I use that brush. And these are very similar. So even though these are synthetic brushes, they act very much like the silver black velvets to me. And they have such a fine point at the end that it's super easy. You can use the same huge brush for the entire painting because it comes to such a fine point. So the Mijello palette is awesome. These brushes are awesome. It was a good mix. Well, that concludes it. What do you guys think? Do you think you guys could use this palette? The color range is perfect. I don't yet notice the black part being a pain in the butt to get through the brush, but we'll see as the pans get lower and we'll go from there. Really fun palette. I am glad to have it. If the black thing doesn't work, it's going to be super easy to modify in the future, so I'm not worried about it. But this little thing is cute, adorable, and it is a great addition to my collection, especially with these wonderful colors. All right, guys, that was really fun. I have 2 more lessons, I think, in this class, but I only have 2 days left, so who knows what I'll get done. Wish me luck. I will see you guys in the next video. Bye for now. Real quick, I forgot to put the shadows on for the plants. So definitely better do that, right? They're kind of gonna go up a little bit more, I think. I don't know. It is what it is. Probably should have been away from the plant a little bit, being that the plant is sticking out from the building somewhat. So we'll lighten that up just a tad and then fix some of the greenery, which will bleed over into that new wet area. I'm gonna have to wait for this to dry a little bit to spiff that up, but I will do that. Take a picture, submit it, see what she thinks. One thing I do want to point out was the white. Yeah, and I did that. No, it seemed like there was something else. I don't know. Back. There he goes. Such a fun hillside for some reason. Hi. Is that your happy place?